Hi, I'm Briana Hetherington.
I'm Jen Hatcher. And I'm Kat Gottlieb.
Welcome to the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. We are over the moon excited to share our wisdom, experiences, and valuable insights to becoming the best version of yourself. Welcome back to the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. I'm your host, Briana Hetherington, joined by my two amazing co-hosts and dearest friends, Jennifer Hatcher and Kat Gottlieb. Today's conversation is all about new year, new me, but not in the crash diet or resolution guilt kind of way. We're talking about building systems that actually stick. You know, sometimes we get caught up trying to figure out what's next, what career to chase, what purpose to find, what goal to hit. Then we forget the most important pursuit of all, ourselves. If you don't know what to pursue in life right now, pursue you. Pursue becoming the healthiest, happiest, most healed, peaceful, present, and confident version of yourself. Because when you start showing up for you, when you align your mind, your body, your energy, the right path reveals itself. It's not about forcing. It is about becoming the version of you who's ready to receive it. So be here with us in this extraordinary present moment. Invest in your growth, your peace, your healing, and trust that alignment always follows authenticity.
Exactly. I'm so in tune. I'm like losing my own trains of thought here. Exactly. Because the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Atomic Habits by James Clear really deep dives this concept of setting up successful systems and working towards 1% better every day. Now, we're not deep diving that here today, but that's definitely a book I'd recommend.
And we're going to show you the reasons why you should build systems rooted in self-love, emotional intelligence, and backed by neuroscience, so you can become your favorite version of yourself in 2026.
Yes, because you are a set of systems you practice every single day. What you think, how you feel, and what you consistently do becomes who you are, your identity. Let's go ahead and start with some science and some research from Duke University that found about 45% of our daily actions are habitual, not conscious. That means nearly half of your day runs on autopilot. Your brain does this to conserve energy. It's called predictive processing. Your nervous system constantly scans for patterns to make life efficient.
That's right. And when people say, I need motivation, what they really need is a better system design. It's not motivation, it's discipline. Harvard Business Review says your systems are perfectly designed to get the results you're getting.
Exactly. And if you want new results, you don't need to wait for a new year. But what you need are new loops, new triggers, new behaviors that keep you motivated. And I'm a huge proponent of this one, new rewards.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Kat. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that 95% of who we are by the age of 35 is a memorized set of habits, emotional reactions, and thought patterns. To change your life, you have to teach your brain and your body a new way of being. That's neuroplasticity. Neurons that fire together, wire together.
That's one of my favorite lines, by the way. Neurons that fire together, wire together. It's so true. And
Throwing it
here's,
back.
right? And here's the empowering part. Neuroscience confirms that your brain remains plastic or flexible for life. So it doesn't matter how old you are right now at this second. Every positive repetition is a vote for your future self. On average, studies show that it takes 66 days. Listen to that again. 66 days. That's just over 2 months for a behavior to feel automatic. So even those small wins that you're repeating helps start to rewire your identity within a few weeks.
That's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Because, typically we always thought it takes 21 days to create a new habit, but 66 days, which means keep going, keep going,
Yes.
keep going. It's the
Just keep
repetition.
swimming. Just keep swimming.
James Clear, I think, calls this the identity-based habits. The goal, for example, like if your goal is to run a marathon, it's really not to run 26.2 miles. What it is to become the type of person who is committed to their workouts, to become an athlete, at least in mindset, to essentially take on the attributes, the habits, and the mindset of a marathon runner. The identity shift is the real transformation.
Oh, I love that. And I can't wait to dive into a little bit about Kat and her running her marathon and her mindset behind that. But yes, it's because willpower fades, but systems sustain. Think of habits as your personal operating system. The more you align with who you want to become, the less effort it takes to live that truth.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love that. And again, we're sticking with the science here. So here's another really important science piece. Stanford behavior scientist BJ Fogg found that emotions, not motivation, make habits stick. So when a behavior feels good, it embeds faster in your nervous system. And I want to give two examples of this. So one is not a habit, but it's a perfect example of remembering the emotion of something versus maybe the pain of it. Childbirth. There are a lot of people who the moment, and yeah, like if you're a mom, you're probably laughing right now because there are a lot of people that when you go through childbirth, you're like, I'm never doing that again. Like you feel like you've been run over by a truck, and it's not just an instant thing. Like you've got weeks of healing and there's a lot. I'm not deep diving that. Again, if you've been there, However, the emotion of it and the little person and the snuggles and the smells and the fat rolls and all the things, many of us choose to do it again because we forget the part that didn't feel good and we're totally feeling that emotion. So that's an example, not a habit, but a good example of how your body remembers with emotions. Now, a different example I have, and more relevant to the topic that we're talking about, is exercise, right? So your brain and your body remember the positive feelings more than the pain. So let's think about this a minute. You go and you have a killer workout. I'm going to go with leg day because a lot of people either love or hate leg day because of the aftermath that may follow the next day, or I'm a 2-dayer. Like I get more sore 2 days after. So leg day hurts, but you feel good while you're doing it. For me, music is a really big motivator. So I have a specific playlist that I am jamming out while I am doing my leg day. And I remember those positive emotions. I remember how good it felt to do the reclined sled at the time. I remember the sweat and the going to the water fountain here in Wisconsin. I would call it a bubbler, but going to the water fountain and being like, yeah, I'm killing it. And for me, with really hard workout days, my positive emotion is the music. It's the actual workout. But part number 3 is that I have earned the steam room at the end of that. And for me, the steam room is like that place where you just let it all out and it's peaceful and again, it's all those positive emotions that my body and my brain are remembering when it's time to do leg day again.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
And it ties into this whole idea of reward system. So if you think about motivation as being more about programming your neural responses by tying in closely positives to even the things that are kind of like difficult to do.
Uh-huh.
And I think we can think about that same idea in terms of like all our goals or all the changes that we want to make. So like maybe the title of this episode, it's not New Year, New Me. Maybe it's New System, Newly Designed, Real Me.
Ooh.
Love that, Kat. I mean, build systems. This is all about building systems that love you back because
Yes.
consistency beats perfection every time. And we talk about it. You guys have heard on the Paradigm episode about we all have 60,000 thoughts, and those thoughts create how we feel, and those feelings produce chemicals in our body, and those chemicals and those feelings actually influence how we behave and how we show up, and how we behave and show up on repeat creates that habit, that system, and that identity. So let's talk about morning rituals, morning daily practices, and the state of being from the time that you wake up and the importance of that. So when I'm my favorite version of myself, my system is very specific. I wake up at 5 a.m. I place my hand over my heart and I say, I am love, I am worthy, and I'm going to have a great day today. And I'm the creator of my day. So, what do I want to feel? What do I want to bring into my day? I get really crystal clear on that. And I love to connect with the feelings of peace, joy, abundance, and gratitude. So, the first thing I do when I jump out of bed is brush my teeth. And this traditionally for most of us takes 2 minutes. And when I practice the everyday habit and system of brushing my teeth, I actually practice 2 minutes of gratitude. And I thank the universe for the roof over my head, my family, my body, my businesses, my relationships, the sunrise. And this activates the reticular activating system, known as the RAS in the brain. This is training my brain to look for more abundance in my day. And then as soon as I finish that, I move into some form of exercise, some sort of movement. So recently it's been the Burn Boot Camp, and I have been loving it. How I feel is just incredible, releasing dopamine and oxytocin early in my morning. And previously, I spent a lot of time jogging on the beach at my beach house, or I'll take a hike in nature. And movement releases this dopamine, serotonin, literally growing new neural connections. So after every workout, I already feel so good. I have my heart wide open with gratitude. And now I have a coherence with my heart and my brain, creating the energy and the feelings I want to feel throughout my day. Now, then I'll jump in the shower and rinse off for the day. And when I'm showering, I visualize the water washing away anything that no longer serves me. Any tension or bad energy, I just let it go. It no longer is with me, and I cleanse myself of it. Traditionally, after I shower, I get ready, and while I'm getting ready, I'll listen to a podcast, maybe ours, or a meditation, or something educational. And then once I sit down at my desk, I love to bring out my journal and really get intentional. Now, I have several journals here, and I've gone through many different journals, and I'll list a few that really have been transformative for me. One of them is called the 5-minute journal. by intelligent change. And this transformed my whole concept of journaling. Because I used to hear about journaling so often, and it was, what do I write? What do I do? And I think these prompts kind of helped me be able to be clear on my day, what I'm grateful for, my affirmations, and my intention. And following that, now I use the NeuroShift journal of rewiring the mind with 8 simple steps, which we will get into on another episode. But I think setting the intention for the day and getting really crystal clear on what I want my day to look like and why and how I want to feel. Then I become the creator of my day, what I allow or what I don't allow into my energy field. So my morning ritual is without a doubt my favorite time of the day. It's all about me and it is setting my day up for success. So I will follow journaling traditionally with a visualization for my day. What do I want to see today? Or sometimes it's me visualizing what I want to bring into my reality, because the brain doesn't know the difference between what is imagined and what is real. So diving into that beach house that I see on the water with the birds going by and the sounds of the ocean and all of that. So I will sit in that. And then the last thing I do before I really step into my day of work and all of that is meditation. Because it's the most challenging time for me to meditate and say that I don't have this long to-do list or all these things. But what this does and what I've learned from this is when I am in meditation, I am the observer of all thoughts, of where my body wants to go and how I want to show up. I am the observer, and so often, for the last 5 years, I got up and had coffee at that time. And now I'm telling the body, nope, we're going to sit here and we're going to meditate because you are in control, not the body, not the mind. You are in control of that. And I think that is what helps me become the energy I want to carry throughout my day.
Ooh, that is so powerful. And Brie, you called a couple of things out. I made notes on, so I want to repeat this to make sure people are really hearing it. You mentioned more than once visualization. You mentioned visualizing while you're in the shower. You mentioned visualizing, while you're journaling. You mentioned that more than once. And that's so, so powerful because, as you said, the brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not. And so it feels like you genuinely we know you're intentional, but you're also giving that visual for your brain to seek out throughout the day as you are creating your day. Another thing you said that I thought was really important, and I put a big box around it on my notes, was what you allow or don't allow in your day or to affect your energy. And a lot of times, I think a lot of us just start moving through our patterns and we're moving fast. We're trying to get stuff done and we've got this meeting, we're doing this. And that we're not intentional with what we are actually allowing ourselves to absorb or not absorb. And it can cause a lot of stress and anxiety in one's day, especially if they're in a challenging work environment or something of that nature. So that what you do allow or don't allow to come into your zone in the day was something that really stood out to me. And something that our listeners may or may not know is that you have been an enormous influence on me and meditation. So and Kat, because if my morning is crazy and I can fit one thing in, the one thing I now do not miss is meditation. I can journal at night, not the same journaling, but you know what I mean? I can fit that in somewhere else. I can squeeze in my workouts somewhere else. But the thing that has made the biggest difference in my mornings, and if I have my way, I do this after my family just left the house for school and for work and it's quiet, And typically my dogs come and hang out by me. They like to meditate with me. But I meditate because on the days that I meditate, I am calmer. My decision making is more thoughtful. It's more mindful. And those are the days where I have more peace because I have set with myself what I want my vibes to be in my world. And then I've noticed on the days that I meditate, I don't allow other people or situations to affect my peace and state of being as much. And this is all supported by research. 10 minutes a day of daily mindfulness has been shown to increase gray matter in our prefrontal cortex. And that's right here, friends, like right up front. So that's a part of your brain that's linked to focus and empathy and emotional regulation.
I am so all over this. I was recently listening to a Jay Shetty podcast, and a comment that stuck out to me is that they said, if you're too busy to meditate for 10 minutes, then you really need to meditate for an hour.
I heard that same one, and I was like, yes!
I love that. So true.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I have a similar intentional wake up process. To me, the morning's the most important thing, which helps me also then to go to bed earlier at night because I want to enjoy my morning routine. I wake up around 6, I meditate, I try to visualize and get up and drink water right away because your body is dehydrated after all night. But then here's the other thing that I do, and this is especially important for women of a certain age where sleep becomes more difficult, is to get up and get outside within that first hour. So I'll take my coffee and sit outside. Even when I'm in Wisconsin, I bundle up in my jacket that goes almost head to toe. It looks like I call myself my burrito. I'll sit outside and drink my coffee because you want to get that sunshine in your eyes for, I think it's a minimum of 15 minutes every single day, and it resets your circadian rhythm. So that means your wake up and your sleepy cycles get synced up. So that's one thing I've added. But then I do journal, and I review my goals, and then I also set up my to-do list for the day. And now I've added something new, and that is Bree's Neuroshift journal that she recently came out with. The idea that your brain is a computer and it's programmed, and it's not that you lack motivation or that you're somehow flawed or bad. It's just the programming's a little off. And so the idea that to look at it from more of a scientific idea, okay, I just need to fix these synapses in my brain, but then also mix it with the idea that we are not computers, we're human beings, which means we are loaded up with emotions. And emotions are sometimes our biggest motivators and drivers, but that's what makes us unique. Why, in my personal opinion, I'll try not to digress in this, we will never have to compete with computers or AI if we remember that we have this divine connection to source and emotions. What I really love also about Bree, what you talked about with your routine, and one that I try to incorporate into my own, is that it blends discipline with gentleness. And I want to talk about that notion of discipline, because I think most of us were raised with the idea that discipline is what they do, in the military, where it's rigid, it's forced, it's go, go, go. It's like all this drive, and I'm just going to say masculine energy drive. But the truth is, discipline can be powerfully impactful when it's looked at as a supportive, self-loving act. It's like you're not forcing, you are flowing with intention.
Oh, I love that, Kat. I think, self-compassion is so needed. And, self-discipline is my love language, but I am very gentle and compassionate with myself. I'm not my own worst critic. I'm mindful of how I speak to myself and, how I speak to others, because I do believe that is a pure reflection. So when I'm consistent with that morning system, I'm not reacting to my life. I'm actually creating it. And I get to create that it's going to be an awesome day. I get to be the conscious creator of my life. I get to choose happiness. And I get to focus my energy and time where I am valued. And I want you all to radically value yourself. There's no better investment than you. And abundance begins in the mind. Neuroscience shows that our perception of value influences behavior and opportunity recognition. A scarcity mindset seeks to get value and gives energy to lack, comparison, and competition. A creator mindset focuses on giving value. An abundant mindset focuses on all that we already have, the abundance in relationships and health and all of the things that we already have. So when you shift your mindset in wealth from how do I make money to how do I make something that matters, money begins to flow to you because money flows and follows the energy of impact. The brain can't hold both gratitude and lack. So when you have a perceived void, your nervous system contracts. And when you perceive value in self, others, and opportunity, your brain releases dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin, activating your prefrontal cortex and creating flow state, that feel good energy that you just want to stay in. So the act of valuing past the void is a conscious override, shifting from fixing the lack to seeing the abundance that's already here. So every perceived void holds the seed of its opposite value. So when we look at perceived voids, right, it has the hidden value. So if I lack time, instead I could invite presence. I can be here and now. Lack of money says, how can I make an opportunity to create new value? Lack of love is called to embody self-love and connection. When you love yourself and you are self-compassionate, love flows to you. And lack of clarity, creating space for curiosity and discover. So I want to ask you, what value is the void revealing that you are ready to embody or create? So awareness becomes wisdom, and wisdom becomes health and wealth of being.
Okay.
Let's just take a moment.
I know, right?
Let's just take a moment.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay, so in such a good way, that's a lot. And let's connect it now, right? So here's where emotional intelligence meets habit science. And we're going to talk about Brené Brown for a minute here because obviously she's fantastic and amazing and talks about really rising up when your face is on the mat. But Brené Brown also says that vulnerability, and I quote, is having the courage to show up when you can't control the outcome. So think about vulnerability and emotional intelligence and self-love. We might not be able to control everything out of the gate. Real transformation takes courage without necessarily having the control yet.
Yes, and in my book, Via Wonderment, I talk about lovingly detached, which is the same concept, which means you can love and care for something, but let go of the outcome. So stay in the process, and then the outcome will take care of itself. So, and I also want to say one other thing about Brené Brown. She also talked in her recent book, Strong Ground. Yeah, like that she was talking about her other research about courage. And she interviewed military people, athletes, these business leaders. And she asked them one question. She says, can you have courage without vulnerability? And all of them stopped and thought about it and says, no, you cannot. You see, you have to take the actions even when you're unsure of what the outcome's going to be. You have to see that there is a problem or something that you need to solve, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have all the answers. And I just love that idea for everybody to think about. And it's the same concept as self-discipline. You know, like the idea is that true discipline isn't about like punishment, and it's certainly not about knowing exactly, well, if I do this, then that's going to happen. It's kind of like, no, I need to stay in the process. And it's really about, I guess, discipline to me is it's about love. It's saying I care about my future self so much that I will not abandon her today. So therefore, I am going to do the things, I'm going to do the process, and allow the process and trust that the process is going to get me to the end result.
Oh, love it, Kat. Brene Brown, ladies. I mean, she is my favorite guru. I absolutely love all her books. If you haven't looked into her, she has so many YouTube, TED Talks, and things on vulnerability and shame and overcoming perfectionism and all of the things.
Yep.
And I'm layering in one thing here because it's directly relevant to what we're talking about on the whole podcast today. And near the beginning of that book, The Strong Ground, Brene Brown brings up Newton's first law, which is an object in motion stays in motion unless there is a significant external force. And so when we're talking about Brene Brown and Newton's first law and new year, new you, you know, new habits, showing up as your best and real self, again, the motivation will fade. The discipline and the systems will not. So if you can get that external force, which is your actions in your systems in place, then you can disrupt your object in motion in a good way. But if you don't bring in that external force and you're hoping the motivation will be enough, you're going to keep following the same path. And so as like it just popped in my head that I had to bring that up related to her book, this podcast, and of course, physics, my friends, Newton's first law.
I love it. I'm glad you added that in. So, I mean, Harvard studies show that self-compassion after setback actually increases motivation and persistence. It quiets the fear center of the brain known as the amygdala, or fear center. Okay, this automatically puts you in fight or flight mode. So if you miss a day, don't spiral. Okay, it's just get started the next day. So let's kind of dive into the inner foundation of who you want to become and the frequency of your value. So everything begins with your state of being. Your brain and heart emit an electromagnetic signature that others feel before you even speak. That's neuroscience meeting the quantum energy. So if your intention is, I want to get something, you are going to create scarcity loops. However, if your intention is, I want to give something so powerful, it transforms lives, you unlock the state of flow, purpose, your why. So I want you to ask yourself, what value are you radiating right here and right now? Because you can't create maximum external value from the internal misalignment. You become the value first through your energy, clarity, and integrity.
Absolutely. And when you approach growth this way, through curiosity instead of criticism, you build emotional regulation. And I have another example to give this, and it's a really good example because it's something that people don't necessarily choose. So we had curiosity becomes a really big part instead of criticism. So we had just talked about how you can't have courage without vulnerability, right? And we also had just talked about how your self-compassion increases after a setback. I want to give a shout out here related to both of those thoughts for cancer survivors. Here's why I'm bringing this shout out right now. You are forced in that instant to have courage when you hear the C word that we all hate and F the C word, right? Like, you are forced to have courage and you are forced to be vulnerable in that moment. And whenever you are figuring out what your treatment plans are and who your support system is and all of these terrible things nobody wants to go through. And again, I have respect and admiration for everybody who has gone through or is going through it. Your self-compassion is forced to increase as well. And so that is a setback that, again, you can't plan for. It happens, but all of these things come together and you find yourself being courageous, being vulnerable, being self-compassionate, and your brain is forced to go to creativity instead of criticism. You can't if you're criticizing yourself in that moment, it's not going to help. And so your emotional regulation can start to build. And there will be a moment where there's probably some criticism, right? But the same neural pathways that store shame and frustration and guilt can be rewired through compassion and courage and curiosity.
Okay. I know.
I know.
I need a moment.
I know. I'm, doing Jen things. But genuinely, having the choice is a gift. Not having the choice, you can still make really positive impacts and in ways that you probably didn't see before that moment. And so it was really important to bring that up.
I think it's all the same concepts, right? Mm-hmm. And I know they've done, and I'm just going to take this and make it lighter so we don't go way deep down into that.
I apologize, but again, the love.
Yeah, same. For yes. So anyway, so they've done studies on what you should do is like showing that when you pair like the should behaviors or things that quote unquote require discipline with like a want reward, like maybe listening to your favorite podcast during a workout, it actually boosts consistency. Now, this is what the studies say, 10 to 14% over time. But I can give better empirical percentages, like in my own opinion and life experience. I think pairing a fun activity like listening to a podcast with a workout actually boosts, personally, my consistency way over 14%. Like, to me, it's kind of like a mandatory. So I'm going to second that. I'm going to put it almost like at 100%. But I guess the point is adding rewards, it boosts, like consistency or like pleasurable motivators is like a super good hack for anybody looking to establish some goal achievements protocol into their new year. So no matter what you're working on, if you're creating milestones along the way with a reward attached to that milestone, it will help you to keep reaching forward. So the rewards don't have to be, like something that distracts you. Like if your goal for the new year is to lose 10 pounds, but don't make the reward, well, I'm going to have a piece of cake. You know what I mean? Like make the reward something that actually builds on your goal. It could be, like rewarding if you're training for a marathon, for example, or even just a 5K, like reward yourself with getting a massage occasionally. Just pair something good in your psyche with the new habit, and then that connects those neural pathways. That's that science and emotion meeting up that I think is just so important for people to understand.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Kat. It's the neuroscience of joy, right?
Yes, that's
You
it.
are the teacher of how you discipline your brain, and you can train your brain to feel good.
Yes.
That's a decision you have to intentionally and consciously make. So when we think about what people value, right, and as our self-worth, like what do people find value in? One thing is anything that simplifies their life or creates some sort of safety in their life or aligns them with their purpose or creating elevated emotions for them, such as joy, peace, love, and confidence. So one of the things that I mentioned in my daily morning ritual is one conscious act of kindness. Every single day being so intentional, whether it's just a simple text message letting my friend or a family member know how much I value them and how grateful I am for them. Or it could be that, I maybe want to send somebody a journal or a money tree or something else. But always being intentional with being conscious and generous. Because what we give is what we receive back. So when you offer a service or leadership or your presence, it does all four of these things. When we offer our presence, it really does create safety and it helps us align and creating a safe space for peace, love, and joy. So you create exponential value. You are the creator. So your brain literally rewards you with the dopamine of giving value. So tying it back into rewarding your brain, right? Your brain literally is rewarding you dopamine for giving that value. So look at that and recognize that you have dopamine available to you at any point in time. Practice gratitude or just simply sharing how grateful you are for those around you. So as you're beginning this journey, this new year, this new you, what are the habits that you want to create and what are the habits that you want to let go of that no longer serve you? Because I have to tell you, becoming the best version is letting go of all the things that no longer serve you and really being free of it all. So let's get a little personal here. And as we move into 2026, I want to ask you, what systems are each of you releasing and what systems are you creating to become the highest potential that you possibly can be?
I am releasing the should, aka the busy badge, right? Wow, yay! I don't know how I did that. That's amazing.
They like that.
Yeah.
I want to do it again. How do we do it? That was amazing. The universe is literally cheering for me as I said that.
Yes.
So
yes.
here's the should. I should do this because it's what I built before, or I should do this because it's a pattern, or I should do this because this is what other people are expecting of me. Now, I have gotten better at that, or as years have gone on, but the constant motion and obligations and just output, it isn't value, it drains me. It stresses me out. And when I've got to-do lists stacked on to-do lists, it gives me anxiety. My sleep is disturbed. Like, it's a whole thing. And I know I'm not the only person on the planet that feels this way. So I'm giving away the busy badge, the should, and everything to everyone. Like, I can't. So that includes things as small as feeling like you need to immediately reply to a text or a Slack chat or a Microsoft Teams, or I got this email and I know this person's impatient and I'm in a meeting, but I know they're going to want an answer. Do you hear it? That's part of the should. And we have levels of programming, each of us, that we have shoulds. I am releasing the should. And what I am working on building is what feels good. I am going to lean deeper into what feels good, number one. Number two, as part of that system, because meetings don't just disappear. They might not feel good, but you still have to go be in them, right? I'm going to work really hard on taking a deep breath and anchoring myself and being present in that moment. So that means because I'm here with you right now, I'm not replying to texts, Slacks, or emails. They'll get addressed later. I am here. I am now. I am present.
I love that so much. I love that. And I think for me, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the guilt of rest. Now, this is a big one for me. My whole life, I've always been like an overdoer. And look, it's on one hand, it's helped me achieve a lot of things, but it also has created a chronic cortisol issue and an adrenal stress response inside of me, which is not good. And you can do that for several decades, but after a while, again, it's that the science part of life, the physiology is it's just not good for you physically to always be in that overdoer mode. So like you said, Jen, I have used busyness. For me, it was busyness as avoidance of feeling. So like if I'm going through some big feelings, guess what? I take on a new project. I am now working, 14 hours a day instead of just 8. Like I have done this so many times in my life, which then just adds to the cortisol and the adrenal stress I'm already under. So anyway, for the new year, I'm going to work on my value of downtime. Like instead of questioning myself, well, I should be doing something. What could I squeeze in these 5 minutes before I have to leave the house? Which then also makes me late, but we'll talk about that other times. But I want to be more fully present in my intention of self-care. Like this is really an important thing for me. Like valuing self-care. It's not selfish or self-centered to be self-care-ish. It's a good thing. And the importance of recuperation, of rest. It's not just a physical recuperation, but it's the mental and emotional part for me. Rest is like a sacred reset. It's no longer, for me, it's not going to be a reward for pushing beyond exhaustion, which I have done many, many times in my life. Like, it's not time to go to bed until I am literally exhausted. I used to say that all the time, like, oh, I love going to bed when you just collapse into bed because you're so physically tired. Like, I'm like, okay, that's not good. That's not good. So that's
it might be unhealthy. Just saying.
Yeah, it might be a little unhealthy. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to fix that this coming year. So my 2026 system is also creative flow. Like we were talking about my morning routine, journaling and movement. Like I'm going to try to take a midday break, like to just go and do some movement of some kind. It's going to be yoga, just walking or getting on the treadmill for a mile, just a mile. I'm not training for a marathon this year, just like a mile, and then some weights, right? Because you got to lift weights when you're at a certain age. And then just like mindful care of my environment, my home, and self-care. And the one that's going to be my biggest challenge, play without purpose. Just have fun. And that's kind of what I talk about in my book, Via Wonderment, but it's super important as adults that we take a recess from stress and just enjoy life without any purpose to it.
Yes,
anyway, that's my to-do list.
Absolutely.
I'm
Well,
writing down recess from stress. Like maybe I have to use that somewhere. Like I don't know where, but I
Good.
love it.
Good, 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 good.
Well, love it, Kat. And I love that you both shared, about presence. Just being fully present coming
Mhm.
into this new year. I mean, when we're present in the moment, it is the only moment that transformation happens. So many of us live in the past or we live in the future. And to be able to just enter this new year being fully present and
Mhm.
intentional in every space, environment, and everything that you're doing,
Yeah.
I love that so much. I am releasing overextension, doing everything for everyone. My 2026 system is energetic alignment and radically valuing myself. If it's
Mhm.
not aligned with peace or my purpose, it is a no for me. And because every no makes space for the right yes. So once one door closes, another door opens. And what comes through when I follow that of what is aligned with my peace and purpose has transformed my life. And I'd love to see the same thing for you.
Ooh, I feel like that's. Oh, go ahead.
I just a really quick interjection here.
Yeah.
I literally think we need to do a whole episode on all the reasons for saying no and all the ways to say no.
Yes.
Ooh.
Especially for those really nice upper Midwesterners where like saying no is worse than cursing.
Oh, yes, yes.
Like it's a cultural thing.
It really
We do
is.
need a no episode.
Okay. Sorry. I
Maybe we
digress.
can pull in some fun songs too while I'm pontificating on this. You like some Megan Trainor and Amy Winehouse and
Amy
like we got themes going with this. Okay. So I love that. We definitely need a no episode. And Brie, what you shared about the doors that close because you said no and because you're in alignment with if it doesn't give peace or purpose and is aligned with that I'm saying no, you above maybe anybody else I know are like the epiphanal example of self leadership. And so number one, that's amazing. Number two, you have the discipline to do that and carry it through. And I think it'll be really, really good for the rest of us to not only take that as an example, but to see and hear how that continues to play out for you as we are all working to get to your, again, epiphanal level of self leadership. Because when you design your life around your energy instead of your calendar, you expand your capacity for joy. And again, this is something that you teach us through your actions and through your discipline.
Oh my gosh.
Genuinely. Like,
He is the
Seriously.
sweetest. I mean, seriously, how did I get so lucky to just have you two incredible ladies in my life?
you said
I'm
no
just
to other things.
beyond grateful. Yes. Yes, that is the truth. It really, truly is. And it is so interesting when you really take the time to reflect and look back. Okay, when I did say no to that, what opened up for me?
Yes.
Because I think so
Correct.
often we look at challenges like a roadblock, but when I see a challenge, it's really an opportunity or a possibility of something new. And maybe this isn't my divine timing, or just being able to say that no and allow space for all the abundance to flow in, all the right things for you. So, okay, conscious creators, here's your activation. I want you to ask yourself, what version of me do I want to become by December 31st, 2026? Who is it? What does it look like? What does it feel like to be this new version of you?
Mm.
your environment? Who are the people surrounding you? What's your health? What's your well-being? What are the feelings that you are emanating every single day?
Yes, yes, and yes. Now, to get there, after you write it, and it might be long, that's okay. Tell the universe everything you want. And then what you need to do is you need to reverse engineer it. So, how does that version of you think? How does that person act? How do they feel? How do they show up every day? Because again, like, you can't eat a chocolate cake every single day and be in your best health ever. Now, there probably are people who are an anomaly somewhere that do that, but for the rest of us normal people, that's just not how science works. So you have to reverse engineer into that best version or your favorite version of yourself that you want to be December 31st, 2026.
Well, yeah, and I think that kind of ties to Jen. You always say this: you can't build a mountain; it's one pebble at a time, or something.
You can't move a mountain; it's one pebble at a time. Like you can't lift up the whole freaking mountain, but you can move one pebble at a time.
And you can't boil an ocean.
Can't boil an ocean. Also, Rome wasn't built in a day. These are things repeated a lot in my world.
All those things. Well, and that brings me up to the next thing is, it's like, so what we need to do is ask ourselves, if we have this goal, this vision of who we want to be next year at this time, ask yourself then, what are the tiny repetitions that you can start today?
Yes.
Because science shows that it takes micro actions repeated over 10 weeks or 66 days to form a neural pathway. It takes 10 weeks of repetition to create the neural pathways. So if we think about like tiny actions as like, I love this analogy of turning a gigantic ship. Okay, here's that big, ocean liner. You just can't turn on a dime. No. So like the primary action that turns a gigantic ship is the movement. It's the rudder. So I did some research on this with my book because there was a sailboat in my book, Via Wonderment. So I know it's the rudder that turns things. And it turns it, and then there's like this other thing on a big gigantic ship in the back that kind of moves things. And this action redirects the flow of water, and it pushes the back end of the boat to one side, causing the front of the boat to turn, right? Because it's kind of like steered from the back, I guess, is what you would say, as a non-mechanical person, aka me. So, but that full turn of a gigantic ocean liner, it can actually take several miles to turn a ship. And it requires very careful navigation along the way. It's constant, steady, small turns that change the course for a big ship and also for us.
Ooh, I love it. You're right on. Don't try to overhaul your life. Start with just 60-second habits. Start tiny. It could be as simple as, I hope all of us brush our teeth, right? 2 minutes a day. That's the time. I don't care if you want to get in your 10 squats while you're brushing your teeth or practice your affirmations or gratitude. What feels good for you? Let's bring more into 2026 of what feels good for you. That's what this is all about. And I love that you brought up the tiny habits because so often we get these big goals, these big, hairy, audacious goals, and it feels like, I'm never going to get there. And sometimes it's about celebrating the tiny wins along the journey to get you to the big goal. Because what happens when you get to the big goal? Then it's like, what's next? So it's really enjoying the process of becoming all of your goals. And I think, that's the source code of everything. Radically valuing yourself. You are the greatest project you're ever going to work on. And you are the creator of this life that you want to live. So start small, take a list, and just draw out everything that you want to bring in to 2026 that makes you feel good. Then make another list everything that you want to let go of that you are done with. You are saying no and you are done with. Make those lists and then incrementally start to implement tiny things one at a time. And a great book, if you are interested, is Atomic Habits by James Clear, all about 1% growth each day. And he kind of gets into the cue and the reward of when you systemize your habits and how that works in our brain. So highly recommend that book.
Yes. And you need to track it, right? So you have heard each one of us mention journaling in different ways, shapes, and forms. So I don't care if it's a journal. By the way, both of these ladies have fantastic journals that I use every single day in my life. But grab a notebook, like your 40-cent notebook from, wherever, and you need to track the consistency. It's progress over perfection. So I might not have gotten 40 minutes of lifting and my steam in today at the gym, but I was at the gym, and I'm going to track what I did in some way, shape, or form, because it's really, again, that pattern and building the neural pathways that count. And there might be days where you slip a little bit, and that's okay. Again, you're human. Give yourself some grace, not shame, self-compassion. Be like self-compassion, but keep tracking it, because you will see over time how that starts to add up. You're tracking the behavior, not the results. You can comment on the results when you get them, but you're tracking the behavior, not the results. And I think that's really important. I used to train sales training where we would have people track their behaviors of if you planted your seeds. That's the analogy, right? You plant your seeds in the spring, but you don't see your harvest until the fall. Now, if we think about a timeline on that, that's probably about 66 days. Same thing in your brain. Track the practice, not the perfection. You're tracking how you're taking those steps. So it's just really important. I'm not letting it go. Track.
Yes, and I would add on to that. I love all of that, Jen. It was really good. And I think, what we're saying is, mindfulness isn't about never falling. Right. If you slip up every once in a while, congratulations, you're not a robot. You're a human being. That's always good assurance to know. Yes, I'm a human. But it's not about failing or falling or slipping on your view of what you want to be. It's about how quickly you return to awareness, or how quickly you gain awareness, I should say. And I think this is the really beautiful advice for listeners. When you are changing and upgrading your behavior, it's never about perfection. The real stuff is actually the awareness. When you are in a new and improved mindset and working on improving your behaviors, it's the awareness that when you catch yourself out of it, that is the most important part of it. And so many of us, and myself included in my past, used to always think, well, you see, I failed. I slipped up. I knew I'm a failure. I'm never going to be able to do this. What I did not understand is when you become aware that you are out of your preferred behavior or mindset or habits, that is the key. That is actually saying that you are learning. Those are the moments. Awareness of a slip up is when you are actually learning. Because if you didn't even become aware that you screwed up or that you're out of your habit, that means you're not learning. So awareness is learning. Congratulate yourself when you become aware that you've fallen out of your preferred new reality. And just do not give up, okay? When you fall behind, there's an idea of like falling forward. That's kind of what I want people to understand. Is if there is a slip up or you're like, oops, I just did something as my old me, not my new me would do, you're falling forward. So congratulate yourself. It means that you should lovingly congratulate yourself for catching yourself in your old patterns and reminding yourself that you do things different now?
Ooh, well, I think awareness is the reward. I mean, when
Oh,
you
yeah.
feel proud of yourself, like every time you slip out of that awareness and back into awareness or consciousness or the observer of what is truth,
Yes.
and you're sitting with it, you almost hold a sense of like, you're really proud of yourself
Yes.
for being bigger than that moment
Yes.
itself. And I think I look at it almost like there's so many layers to awareness, okay? And we're so programmed. We're so conditioned, like you said, Kat, with the computer programming. We really are that way, but we are also the ones who get to change us. So those little moments of awareness, whoa, I was just thinking about like the past for like 15 minutes and I got lost there, or whoa, I'm in the future over here. I'm stressed out and worried about something that hasn't even happened. Again, bringing yourself and anchoring yourself into the present moment is where transformation happens. So when we think about awareness, I love to think about it as layers, and it's an ever evolving journey of consciousness. How much more aware can I be of my environment, my relationships, the way I speak to myself, what I feed my body, my soul, my mind? What am I consuming? What am I watching, listening to in music? What am I educating myself with? We are the programmers just as much as our parents were, or the coaches, or the friends that we grew up with. We need to take responsibility and be the conscious creators and be the creators of who we want to become in 2026.
Can I just add one little thing into this? I was listening to Jay Shetty recently. I think I mentioned him twice now in this podcast. I do listen to him quite often.
He's one of my favorites.
He had the perfect hack for this. He said when he was very intentionally trying to change himself, he would actually write out scripts on how he was going to behave and how he was going to respond to certain situations. Like literally write it all out. I'm like,
love it.
yes. I mean, I think that would be such a good thing that I plan on doing in the future. Like very specifically, how am I going to handle these things?
Oh, love that. Well, thanks for sharing that, Kat. So I'm going to give you guys an affirmation to practice just to get that subconscious new neural pathway moving. I am the conscious creator of 2026. I choose thoughts that serve me, feelings that empower me, behaviors that align with my values, and actions that honor my future self.
So
Can we put that in the comments so our
We can put that
listeners
in the
have that? I
comments.
think
we
that should be
definitely
all of our.
should.
That should be one thing that an affirmation that we all, as part of this community, we should just write it on our mirror, like Jen talks about with the dry eraser marker,
Yes.
or put it somewhere. You guys, like every day, we should say that to
How
ourselves.
and how powerful would it be if not just the three of us, but our listeners also said this every day? Like, what a huge collective positive
Yes.
energy into the world, right? To
Yes,
say,
I love
I
that.
am the conscious creator of 2026. And then, there's pieces that follow after that. But if you can only remember one sentence, that one sentence and the power from that and energy from that alignment,
Yes.
like it's mind blowing a little bit. I might tear up just like,
Well, I
dang.
want to layer in on that because the conscious collective
conscious.
Yes.
is what we have, guys. This
Yes.
is our community to really shift the world that we're in today.
Yes.
And we want to bring more peace into it. We want to bring more joy to it, more love, more impact for the greater
Yes.
good of all of us as human beings.
All of us.
And just knowing that you are loved, you are worthy, you are enough, just as you are. You don't have to change anything. Your habits are the heartbeat of who you are becoming. So let this year be your year. You get to build systems that love you back. You are your only limit. So stay mindful, stay kind, and keep creating consciously. You know, I really want to close this out with the best project you're ever going to work on is you. There's no other project that is going to be more resourceful or of value than yourself. We spend so much time chasing what's next. Never enough, the job, the relationship, the title, the validation, and that we forget the foundation of it all. It's our self-worth. If you don't know what to pursue in life right now, pursue yourself. Pursue becoming the happiest, healthiest, healed, most present, most confident version of you. Because when you value yourself radically, fully, and unapologetically, everything else in your entire world begins to align. You stop chasing, you start attracting. You stop proving who you are and your worth, and you start being. Your energy shifts, your standards rise up, and the right path will reveal itself to you in its divine time. So this year, make it simple. No more pressure to become someone new. Just remember who you truly are, the most authentic version of you. The best project you're ever going to work on is you. And when you honor your worth, life meets you at the level of your value. So thank you so much for joining us in a new year and a new me. And I'm so excited to see what our community creates collectively in 2026. So get out there and get ready to become the best version of you. If you guys enjoyed this and you're interested in learning more about our community, feel free to subscribe, like, or reach out to us. We are here. We want to hear from all of our listeners. Do you have questions? Do you guys have comments? Do you have similar experiences? We want to hear from you. So thank you so, so much, and get out there and be the best version of you.